For my Global Youth interview, I decided to interview my best friend from home, Monica Smith. She is 21 years old and she goes to Boston University. We're from Providence, Rhode Island, but she immigrated to America from Scotland. So I thought that talking to her would help me get a better perspective on the ways that she uses social media to connect with people in America versus how she uses it to connect with people in Scotland, and I tried to uncover some of the themes that we've been talking about in class having to do with ideas of connectivity and disconnectivity with social media.
I moved to America when I was 11, just about to turn 12, so I was about to start middle school. I would say that my preferred social media outlets are Instagram and Facebook, and then I use Snapchat a lot just as a form of quick communication. But Instagram and Facebook, you can definitely learn more about what's going on in people's lives, and it's actually real stuff to it. So I would say I like that a little better. I use social media to connect with family and friends in America just as like a quick form of communication. I can share pictures with them, like let my parents know what I'm up to while I'm at school, or see what my friends at other colleges are doing with their lives. I use it to communicate with them, with my family in Scotland, a little differently. I would say that my communications with them on social media is a little more drawn out and we'll actually have a real conversation instead of just looking at each other's pictures and liking them or throwing a quick comment on them. We'll actually have a real conversation and sometimes even use the Facebook messaging application. In terms of social media outlets that I use with my family in Scotland, like I just said, I prefer to use Facebook and Instagram, but more frequently I'll use Facebook just because most of my aunts, uncles, and grandparents only really have Facebook. I have a few that have Instagram, but most of them stick mainly to Facebook, so that's the one that I can use to communicate most easily with them, and it also allows me to use the Facebook messaging app in order to actually have a full, in-depth, long conversation about what's going on. Yeah, but I use it pretty similarly, other than the fact that we actually have conversation, but it still is a way for me to show them what's going on in my life and for me to see what's going on in their lives. I think that social media is a very important part of my life. I know it sometimes sounds bad to say that because a lot of people get caught up in social media, but especially having my entire extended family in Scotland, it definitely makes it a lot easier for me to know what's going on in their lives, and it makes me going home. I think that our time when I'm there is more valuable as I actually know what they've been up to, so we can have more normal flowing conversation. Um, the only thing that I think is a little weird about it is I'm friends with people that I went to lower school with, so sometimes, and I actually haven't spoken to them since I left, so sometimes I think it's a little weird when I'm just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram and I see something that they've posted because I I genuinely have no idea what's going on in their life other than the picture, so there's no background to it, which I think is a little weird, but it's definitely a very important part of my life because it allows me to keep tabs on what's going on. Like if my grandparents are visiting another country in Europe, or if my younger cousins have had like a performance or something, I'm able to see what's going on, and then when we actually can find the time in our schedules to sit down and do a Skype call or a FaceTime, we know what's been going on roughly, so we can have an easier conversation, and I think the conversation that we have is more valuable because of it. I've definitely felt like it can make me feel a little disconnected at times. There are times where I'm going through my Instagram feed and I see pictures that people post in which they're clearly living like their best lives, and they're portraying that image that they want everyone to think of them. Um, so sometimes that can trick me into thinking that I should be more like them, or like I have like fear of missing out or whatever. Um, like for example, in high school, if I'd see people on Snapchat, like all doing something together or all like posting pictures at the same place. There was definitely that whole fear of missing out situation. Sometimes that happens with my family in Scotland. It's more of it's different because it seems like more I'm missing more sentimental things. Like if I see that they've had a birthday dinner in order to celebrate someone, or if they're celebrating a holiday together, there's often times where I like see that online and I wish that I could have been there. But in general, I think overall, when I put everything into perspective, social media is honestly much like honestly has made the move here much easier, as I still feel very connected and can build those already existing relationships.